After a few conversations with Darren, I really fundamentally, my thinking was in alignment with his philosophically around what sovereign currency and what Bitcoin stood for, and really the theory that became Bitcoin, that this Satoshi concept essentially. And so Darren and I had some conversations, and I had been eyeing the price of Bitcoin for a little bit and seeing where that was at, reading various investment headlines, and things seemed to have been leveled out and stabilized a little bit from prior 2 years. And so we really started to have a conversation, Darren and I, around the different ways that people typically would buy Bitcoin, whether it's for everyday as an everyday currency or as an investment tool or as part of their savings portfolio. And for me, the easiest way that for me to dip my toe in the water there was really to just purchase some coins as sort of an investment to start out with, and kind of go from there and get myself more familiar with what that means, how to manage it, and it's been great. It was really easy to do. Working with Darren was super easy. And once I had that Bitcoin in my hand, the paper version, of course, of it, it's been actually really fun to track the price of that, track that market, and get better educated on sort of the driving forces behind Bitcoin and the valuation of that. I have been eyeing the price of Bitcoin, and Darren was going to be making a larger order, and I would go in on that order. And actually, I was getting a little restless, a little anxious to make that purchase, just gut feeling, if nothing else. And so when the time was right, a few weeks into the conversation, I purchased a few Bitcoins. At the time, I think the market rate that at that purchase was around just under $5,000. Again, that was just a few months ago. I think the latest, it's trading around 11,000 now. So a 2x return in a matter of just a few months. Obviously, like any investment, it's subject to volatility, and we know that. But it's hard to discredit a 2x return in that short span of time. My only regret, like so many of us, is simply I wish I had taken a little bit more and purchased a little bit more. Darren understands the broader application with what cryptocurrency and Bitcoin stands for, not just with regard to everyday currency or investment, but he understands. I think he's got a good sense of where he sees Bitcoin going over the next few years in terms of just general adoption, general acceptability as a legitimate investment in many cases. And he understands various market forces really well, including some of the, again, some of the more, the lesser known realities with how our banking system and how our monetary policies actually work. And that has encouraged me to educate myself more about it. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency has many different applications, and Darren has a good sense of several of where those trends may be going, and I think he's positioned himself well to be on more the innovative side and not so much reactive, but proactively planting seeds. And again, I think a big part of the success of Bitcoin, the success of Darren and Luxolo, and folks that own Bitcoin is really our responsibility collectively to socialize that and help promote general acceptance and take some of the stigma out of what it means. I love to talk about it because the natural reaction I get 9 out of 10 times is rooted in negativity and just misinformation around what it is, what it stands for. So it provides me with an opportunity to sort of, again, evangelize what Bitcoin is, what cryptocurrency, stable cryptocurrency is, and it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. Blockchain is, you have big investment firms from Fidelity to Goldman Sachs. They're all getting in on the game. It's not going anywhere. My plan at this point is to hold the coin and really keep that money, that investment, isolated into Bitcoin. So that may mean at some point in time liquidating, selling the Bitcoin, but then using those proceeds essentially to reinvest back into Bitcoin. So I sort of have that portion of my retirement, of my savings, firewalled off, essentially portioned off for Bitcoin. So that may mean at times I, time it and sell it, only to purchase more at another point. Darren has a great way of just meeting people where they're at, on their level with regard to their awareness or knowledge of how financial systems and how investment instruments work. And if you're a newbie, or if you're really someone that's has been largely just taking the advice of your broker or of an investment advisor, he'll work with you to help demystify, help you feel more knowledgeable, and knowledge is power, I feel, and to be able to take control over some of your own investments and have more of a vested interest in how to manage those, I think is very powerful. I think the early days of Bitcoin certainly were certainly more fraught with risk, higher reward, higher return, but higher risk. The market has really started to as it matures, has stabilized, and there's a lot of documentation, a lot of third-party material and resources that speak to that. So for me, I feel like things are starting to probably in the next year or so hit an inflection point where, again, as more and more of the larger known reputable brands and institutions get in the game, it's going to continue to help propagate this general acceptance of coins like Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And I think people are going to start to really take a closer look, whereas in the past they've had a more skeptical eye. If someone's interested in getting involved in purchasing Bitcoin, whether again it's as currency or as an investment tool, Darren's a great person to just have that conversation. He'll help walk you through the options, the pros, the cons, and really help you understand the bigger picture of what it means to own, to truly own a sovereign currency. It's very empowering, and it's not scary. It's not something that you have that is, for ultra wealthy or sophisticated investors. It's for everyday folks that are just looking for an alternative to the current legacy markets and what many of the large investment institutions are frankly pushing on their clients to maximize their profits.